Tell me your story.
I was this close to dying from a brain abscess that was misdiagnosed.
Good to know people care, though.
For a lot of people, the MRIs are clear.
You said you had a lot to tell.
Oh, yeah.
Someone said,
I thought it was normal to have like seizures by yourself all the time.
You definitely will feel guilt a lot.
I so appreciate you putting this together.
thank you. It says, how to tell if I'm having a seizure. I'm a teenager with tics undergoing diagnosis for Tourette's. I get these episodes where I will either look blank for a few seconds and then get a faraway look in my eyes. And when I come back, I don't necessarily realize anything has happened. I also experience convulsions where my whole body will tense and jerk, and then I won't be able to respond, but I am mostly conscious. I just couldn't speak. I struggle to tell if that's tics or possibly seizure activity. Yesterday, I was on FaceTime with a friend, and I started to feel buzzy, and often couldn't couldn't really understand her. I lay down and kind of zoned out hardcore, and then apparently my eyes kept rolling back into my head for like 10 seconds. And then I would reply. I was sucking my lips and twitching a bit. I felt tingly, and my heart was beating really fast. I'm not asking for medical advice or a diagnosis, just wondering if this sounds like anyone's experience. We also suspect, I think this says pandas. Um,
That is something. I'm not sure what it is.
uh, okay, it says we also suspect I have pandas, which can cause seizures. Opinions. That's the first time I heard of pandas.
Pediatric autoimmune neuropsychiatric disorders associated with streptococcal infections. It's a condition where a child suddenly develops OCD and or tics after a strep infection is triggered by the immune system mistakenly attacking brain tissue. Symptoms appear abruptly, including severe anxiety, mood changes, sensory issues, school performance drops, and eating problems, often followed by flares.
The main question was how to tell if the person's having seizures. Um, I think the person who's seen that FaceTime can pretty much tell if it's a seizure. I mean, I pretty much can tell when I see a seizure. I don't know how people, if the only thing I was thinking about is the person said they were cautious every time, but I pretty much know when I'm having a seizure, but it's hard to explain. Uh, yeah, but like this person said that the person watched them over video chat. Yeah, they sound like seizures.
Did they know when they were doing the lips and that, or is that something that somebody else described to
Um, no, it said they were 10 second, 10-second ish. Would start sucking lips and twitching a bit. Felt tingly and my heart beating really fast. Um, so I don't think that part's having a seizure. I don't know. There's a lot of different things people do with having seizures. And being that I don't know what pandas is, I can't really say if that's a seizure, in particular.
Is pandas just when they say something is wrong with you after a strep infection?
I'm reading about that now, trying to get a.
I have no idea. I didn't look up anything. As much as I know is from what you guys have said to me, which I've forgotten exactly what you said. So I know nothing about pandas. I just know that it says it there. I don't
What
remember
I'm
what the last
seeing,
person said.
It doesn't sound like Tourette's, um, and as much as I understand it, which is really not too much. I'm not an expert, but I know that it does fall under the umbrella of neurodevelopmental disorders that autism spectrum, ADHD, um, uh, and cousins fall under. Um, one of or interestingly enough, it'll probably sound a bit absurd, but one of the um, best kind of little uh, summary intros to um, Tourette's syndrome that you can find, like respectful um, intros, comes from a South Park episode um, titled Le Petit Tourette. Um, and it was actually praised by the National um, Tourette's Association, I think, or something along those lines, some national association, um, for its depiction, because it shows one character kind of going out and abusing the general idea that it's just going out and about and spouting profanities at random and whatnot. And there's a group, and they explain the nature of the ticks, and that they're not, not this shouting of profanities, and that there's like um, a building up of pressure and energy inside that needs to be released, and it's released by, you know, whatever their tick is, and the longer they resist it, the longer they hold it, the more difficult it is to kind of function and whatnot. Um, no, I can't summarize it really and do it justice. I would recommend watching the episode. I don't remember what season and number it is, but actually, let me just Google it right here for everyone. Uh, yes, Le Petit Tourette. I got the title right too. How about that? Season 11, episode 8. Um, yeah. Um, uh, I don't know. I thought it was I thought it was a really interesting episode. Um, so
Yeah, it's a good episode.
yeah. Um, and their depiction of Tourette's really does not sound like what OP here described. The building up of tension. Um, it sounds, more uncontrollable, more internal, um, or not internal, both internal. It sounded more seizure-like to me personally than neurodevelopmental. If
It,
if
it
those
also
are
said at the end that pandas is not necessarily universally recognized. and but there's also something called PANS. Okay. PANDAS is sudden OCD, tics after strep. PANS is sudden OCD or food restriction from any trigger. Okay, so that's something else. That isn't all right. I'm seeing that. Okay.
There's a
So,
comment here.
It's
Um,
interesting that it can be set off by an infection like that. I would
oh
not
yeah,
have, would not have.
but is it a psychiatric thing? Uh, because
There's a comment here from someone else with pandas. It says, I'm so sorry. That is a lot to deal with. I had pandas as a kid, like 14 years ago now. Absolute torture. Still dealing with the OCD and chronic infections. I think it contributed to triggering my epilepsy, tonic-clonic focals, and I had tics for a few years, but thankfully they eventually subsided. You definitely do have some similarities with absence seizures. The best advice I can give you is to write down what happens during these episodes, how long they lasted, what you were doing beforehand, what you ate or drank, how much you slept, what you felt afterwards, etc. It'll be super helpful for when you see a neurologist. Sending you big hugs. Um, that was it. But for it to cause seizures and being, I don't exactly know what OCD is. OCD to
Obsessive
even
compulsive disorder. So, I
um,
mean, on TV, the people who are like always washing their hands and germ phobes and stuff, or always have to have
mm,
all of everything in their closet all lined up in terms of perfect,
okay,
color coordination and alphabetical order by clothing designer
okay. I didn't know it
and
was like that, but
sub-organized by clothing article size.
symptoms
I
go
just thought the
what
food freaks
are
or knee freaks that my auntie used to say.
No, it's
there's
People who like their stuff specific.
a lot of symptoms for OCD. Yeah, about uh, those thoughts, those impulsive thoughts, whatever it is, and uh, yeah, that's a big thing too.
yeah, intrusive thoughts,
I
repetitive behaviors.
can never
Um,
remember the name for that. Yeah. Uh,
yeah, there's like it's not something that they can control, that thought to, clean the floors or whatever. Um it comes over and over and over and over and over again. Even when the floor is already clean, it'll look like there's something still there, Um, um, and that process of cleaning um, will temporarily do something to help relieve some of that tension, some of that anxiety. They're actively fixing it, and that helps. But then as soon as they're done, there's something else that's not clean, and then they come back and somebody's walked on that floor and you know, yeah, OCD is
yeah, that's a
serious. It's
that's a good
not.
description. These uh, things they do are used to relieve tension or anxiety, but it doesn't. Yeah, yeah, okay. Yeah, that's good.
There's no hitting like an absolute zero of that anxiety, right? There's always going to be something that'll show up no matter how much. Yeah.
I always find one that says, anybody help me with insomnia? And there's been one about that for the past week or so, maybe 2 weeks. So I won't read that one. But I do have one here. It says, for some reason, I'm only having seizures in the daytime. Anyone here having seizures like during the day instead of on all the, oh, instead of, let me start over. Anyone having seizures like during the day instead one and all days? And how did it recover? Do you guys understand that? I think it was how it was wrote. I read it exactly how it says. So um, basically having seizures only in the daytime. I don't have any particular things because I've had seizures in the day and in the night. Um, has anyone noticed a sign that yours are only in the daytimes?
Kind of been all over the place, middle of the night, in the morning, in the afternoon.
The EMU
Yeah,
only got nocturnals for me. I've been seen seizing during the day, and I know I've had them during the day. I felt them, but um, the the neurologist has only ever captured nocturnal. So I don't know. Are there people who only ever have one or the other?
say that one
Hey,
more time.
No, wrong. Never more than a month.
I, uh, the, the JME, um, the myoclonics are, I think I've said this a million times, but they're completely surrounded around sleep, waking up. Uh, you'll have myoclonics when you wake up. Um, so that was the biggest problem. And myoclonics were auras into uh, tonic clonics, and so that was the biggest problem. If I could make it past a certain point, if I could get myoclonics under control, then I knew I was good for the rest of the day. Mostly, you know, but I never had nocturnals, never had them late at night for the most part. Yeah, and that was it.
Yeah, I was just thinking mine have been day, night. Have not been the middle of the night that I can remember. So hopefully it stays that way or it gets better. Um, I got something here though. It says, my dad told me when I was a baby to a toddler age, I dropped limp for a minute before going back to normal. I've researched and it sounds very, very much like a atonic seizure. I'm going to bring it up to my primary care doctor at, soon at a doctor's appointment. On the other hand, my dad said I did it as an attention seeking behavior, he told me, end quote. That's why we didn't take you to a doctor. But honestly, I'm feeling appalled by my dad as I don't think a baby or a toddler could fake an atonic seizure. What might happen in the process of getting diagnosed, if anything? I'm a driver and now I'm worried about it. I also remember what was almost certainly an absent seizure when I was around 10. Stopped and stared into space for about 30 seconds and couldn't move. Haven't had any occurrences since then, and I'm in my late 30s. The question was, what might happen in the process of getting diagnosed? Because I'm a driver and I'm worried.
Doctor to tell you that they can't go back that far. If you had atonic seizures in childhood, they might not be able to tell you.
Ooh, that sucks. Can they take your license because of that?
Probably only if I think you have to have a couple seizures for them to have to tell the DMV or whatever that department is. So
They told me at my first seizure, oh, you can't drive now, right?
Yeah, my doctor, he didn't even have an appointment for an MRI or none of that. He changed my medication to Lamictal and told me, I'm going to call your doctor because I need to cancel your license. You never drive for 2 years without a seizure, and then you can drive, he said. And it just slowly got better. It's been a little bit of better than worse. Look good, then it's not. One of those type things. But yeah, an atonic seizure. I think somebody said, I don't think a baby can do that and fake those. Yeah, so it's worth getting checked out, and it might be a struggle. Being that this person didn't go to this hospital, and Kate said they can't go that far back. The first comment here says, "That's rough. That's your dad's response. Babies definitely can't fake medical episodes for attention. That's just not how our brains work at that age. Good call bringing it up to your doctor. Since it's been decades without episodes, they might just want to do some basic testing and monitoring rather than jumping straight to restrictions, but definitely getting it documented and ruled out properly." It says, should I see a doctor for this? So I've been getting these auras 3 to 6 times daily for the last 3 years. Not sure exactly how long because I wasn't aware these symptoms weren't normal till a few years ago. Anyways, I think I'm also experiencing silent migraines along with them. But as far as regular migraines go, I get them pretty semi regular. But when I have these auras, I get deja vu or very confused. If in public, I forget what's happening, and if I'm having a conversation, I'm either unable to speak or start slurring my words and start saying nonsense. My arms jerk, limbs get numb, tingly, and I get vertigo. I also experience odd smells and changes in awareness. This makes me feel a bit concerned as this has happened at work many times, and it can be very embarrassing. I originally thought it was no big deal because I thought it was just for migraines, but I found out recently that some people with epilepsy don't get diagnosed until adulthood, and that kind of worried me. Anyways, I'm sorry if this doesn't make sense or it sounds like a dumb question. Um, yeah, is that a reason to see a doctor? Is the question. Yes. I mean, at least ask about it to your primary.
If you're asking us
Andrew,
if you should see a doctor, you should go to the doctor.
should the person ask them, should they see a doctor? I'll go with what Andrea said. If you need to ask, should you see a doctor, then you should see a doctor. One says, on FMLA for first seizure, do I tell them I'm diagnosed if I am? I had a seizure on Christmas morning, and I have never had a tonic-clonic seizure before this. I did end up telling my employer I had a seizure, and it's why I'm on FMLA, because the doctor said I cannot drive until I'm cleared by the neurologist, which is coming up at the end of this month. I've been seeing a lot of things saying I made a mistake saying I had a seizure. If I am diagnosed with epilepsy, is this something I have to disclose with them, or can I not say anything and tell them that I was cleared, assuming the doctor clears me to drive after my appointment and I can resume my normal work responsibilities starting next week? I did get clearance from my primary to do some computer work as of this week, and they've been accommodating with that and have sounded like they will continue to be accommodating based off the meetings I've had with HR, but I'm really nervous to lose my job. I absolutely love it, and driving is one of the requirements. The question is, do you tell them that you're diagnosed with epilepsy? Is the question.
Don't drive. It's dangerous.
Driving, yeah, I was gonna say, if driving is one of the requirements of the job, then that's not a job for an epileptic person. Like, I don't know, I guess.
Right.
Maybe if they're like so well controlled that they haven't had seizures in years and years and years, and they feel like they want to gamble with other people's lives. I don't know. I've
Don't do it.
started to kind of think about the statistics about it. If you look at how likely it is to have a seizure behind the wheel compared to anybody else making an average, absent-minded mistake behind the wheel, if you get to a certain point where you've had them so well controlled and had a period of no seizures for so long, you might not pose that much of a bigger risk. Once you get past 5 decimal places, you can treat it as zero. I don't know. It's callous to talk about the numbers. This is just me rambling. I'm never going to drive again. Don't take this as
It's not worth
anything but
gambling
just,
with.
huh?
Yeah, it's
I'm
not.
sorry. I was just gonna say it's not worth gambling with people's lives. You're
Yeah,
not
just
just
to get
gambling with your own, you're gambling with everyone else's that's out there.
just to get
Yeah.
somewhere, 10 minutes quicker or something. Walk, bike,
Well,
skateboard,
no, but
Uber, something, that's
what I'm
not. Yeah.
saying is mathematically, when you get down to how much time a seizure takes versus how much time there is in the entirety of existence, how much time you would spend, how much of that time you would spend behind the wheel. I mean, there comes a point where it's not really that different from the danger of a non-epileptic person. Everybody's taking everybody else's lives, um, putting them at risk when they're getting behind the wheel. Um,
But it is a
This
higher
is
risk when you're someone with epilepsy, though. Like, yeah, there's always a risk to
right.
everything, to getting in a car, walking across the street, but
When it's
for us,
when
it's a
it's
higher risk, and I think that's where that person's coming from.
when it's been controlled by medication to the point that you've had no seizures for, years and years and years, the risk that you're going to have another one spontaneously, and the amount of time that a seizure takes, and the amount of time that you spend behind the wheel driving, the fraction of your total life you spend behind the wheel, the fraction of your total life you spend in a seizure, and then the fraction of your total life that would, the Venn diagram that would overlap between those two, when you get to a point where that is, 0.000000, anything else after that, 5 zeros, you can treat it as zero, like as just not, you can round that all the way off and treat the risk of seizing, or treat the risk of driving and seizing as zero. just pure set theory, statistics, bullshit, not
But seizures can change
serious.
at any point in time.
Sure. And any random person can have their first seizure unprompted behind the wheel at any given time. Or just text and drive and go across the median and smash into you. My mother was sitting at a traffic light in the front in the left turn lane. And somebody came all the way across the intersection from the other side, ran a red light completely, and smashed straight into the front of her. And nobody was having any medical issues. Nobody was drunk or anything. The guy was distracted. But I think it was raining too, and he may have had trouble stopping. But um, you don't need a seizure
Was
to
your
be a
was your mom
seizure.
okay?
Yes, my mom is okay. My
Okay,
grandfather
good, good,
was okay at the time also. Um, but
that's good to hear. Good to hear.
um, yeah, it's I don't know.
Yes,
Like I said,
similar.
it's
I
the
think I brought it up
callous
before
math
here.
behind all of this, and realizing that these numbers really, um, I don't know. These numbers really don't seem,
No,
um,
they don't. I mean, don't forget that in a world of epileptics, there's way more idiots in the world and dangerous drivers. So perhaps I'm the one person in the group that thinks, yes, I mean, you, we should be driving. I mean, because most of the country does not live close to, or there's a lot of people who do not live close to public transportation or a way to get to a good job, or they need ways to get to shopping centers, etc., ways to get food. And
good job or even just a bad job, any job.
right, they're
Yeah.
not they're not even hiring in Center City right now. And there's actually jobs that I can get, but they're 20 miles away. They're in the suburbs, and they're jobs I can do. And they pay really well. And it just seems it's frustrating. I know. And it seems dangerous, but you know what? I can't hide my head under a rock for the rest of my life
Exactly.
because of a small chance that I might kill someone. All right.
I'm sure I've said this before on other topics here on the chat, but yeah, I get the reply, when I'm on my bike or tell people, oh, I don't drive because I have epilepsy, so I can only ride my bicycle. That's why I'm on it. And then their first thing is like, well, what if you have one while you're riding your bicycle? And I'm like, so then what the fuck do you expect me to do? Do you just expect me to like be a grown ass man and then just sit in my chair and watch TV and do fucking nothing all day? Like
Yeah,
I still have
that's
to get
where I went
around. I
with
still
my
have to
mother.
move. Like,
Yeah, afraid
and
of
I'm like,
having a seizure on a bicycle and swerving into traffic. And what if? Like, what if?
yeah, it would just hurt me though. It wouldn't be like me being in a car and taking out, 5 lanes of traffic on the freeway or something. Like I still have to get around. I still have to move. Like you could say the same thing, like, okay, so I'm not going to take a bike. Like, all right, then I take a skateboard. Oh no, what if I have one while skateboarding? Okay, I don't skateboard, so then I'm going to walk, and then I have one while walking down the street, and I fall over and like hit my head on a pole. Like, I mean, there's a million things you could have of any way of
Become,
transporting yourself around. So
he
it
wants to make you bubble boy.
exactly. I'm like,
Mm.
what do you? Yeah, like there was somebody that just kept saying like, what if you have one when you have a bike? Or what if you this happens and this happens? I was like, dude, what do you want me to do? Do you just want me to wrap myself in bubble wrap and duct tape and lay down and do nothing all day? Like, what the fuck is like? Yeah, people that don't have it or don't know anybody that has it, like, it's just a whole different like experience of explaining it to them or getting them to understand it. And yeah, it's frustrating. And it also, yeah, it is frustrating too that we don't get to drive a car because exactly like you guys are just saying, you have if I were to have one on my bicycle and fall out of the bike lane into the street, a crash is going to happen. If I were on another mode of transportation, a crash is going to happen. I understand that, yes, if there's somebody that has one like once a week, once or twice a week or something, then okay, I understand. If it's uncontrolled, it's that often, then yeah, maybe they shouldn't have a driver's license. But when it's something that's every few months, I mean, there's still just as many other things people can do to themselves. They can go to a bar and get themselves stupidly drunk and then drive home. That's even more dangerous and more common than somebody having epilepsy, having a seizure while driving. But that's still allowed. That's still doable. Like if you really wanted, to be stupid and do something like that, technically you could do it. But yeah, it's frustrating and yeah, like Kevin was talking about, it limits your jobs. Um, Definitely limits friendships and relationships that you can have. it's
Well,
it's
like
it's
how can I like start dating or whatever, go out like what,
yeah, exactly,
meet
because you don't
someone,
have your own
go out
car. It's
like,
not
hey, and show up like my mom drops me off for the first date somewhere that, it's like, oh God, how embarrassing can that be?
exactly,
Or
and then like
hey,
after
meet the
like
parents, first ever date, here we go. This is
exactly.
my mom, she's gonna come back and pick me up when we're done.
And Mark also as well, like to go along with that, like let's say like it's just like a perfect date, right? Like everything's going well, you're hitting things off, you're like, hey, some fun stuff might happen tonight. It's like, where are you gonna go, right? Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have my mom pick me up. You want to come back to my place tonight? Like, exactly. It's just yeah, it limits relationships, friendships, jobs, just so many things. Just life in general is what it limits. And even if you tell somebody like, hey, you have epilepsy, and then they say, oh, I know somebody that has it. Like, I understand a little bit about it. They still don't understand what it's like to actually be the one like with it. And it's like it
Yeah.
I don't want to sound like I'm all like trying to be holy and up on my high horse, but this is definitely something that you don't feel the full weight of unless you have it, or like somebody that's like your closest person in your family that has it. There's not really another way to understand it fully.
Even then, it's like you have to have it to feel the full weight because there's stuff we can't describe that we go through and we just can't describe it. Mhm.
Yeah, exactly. And because it's such like a wide like field or like a wide variety of types of seizures, it makes it even harder to explain. Like the I guess what you want to call it, I don't know, the comparison I made earlier, it's not like getting a cold or something, right? You're just like, oh, take NyQuil, lay in bed for a day. Okay, there we go. You had a cold. It's it's something completely different that affects, everything more than just the day you had the seizure. It affects different aspects of your life, how even after you have a seizure, if it's a grand mal, especially, you're going to be sore for, a couple days after. It's not just something that's yeah, just a quick, you know, snap of the fingers and it's done and over with. It's something that lasts you forever.
You done, James? I got something.
Yeah, go ahead.
It
I'm done.
says 8 year success with anxiety. I'm coming on 8 years seizure free. Just got I got diagnosed with JME my sophomore year of high school. I had 3 total grand mal seizures. I used to have a lot of the tonic-clonic jerks as well. I since been on Keppra 500 milligrams twice a day. Since then, I haven't had any jerks or grand mals. I'm glad and thankful for this. I still live with impending doom over my head, regardless of my success. I frequent this page and hear many different stories. Anyone have any tips to keep the anxiety down? And does anyone have any tips on how to keep the anxiety down? And is it only because I haven't had one in 8 years, or do you have anxiety when you have not had have not had a long time without seizure or been seizure free? I get anxiety and I haven't went 8 years, but that's just a me thing, just because I know it's coming every 3 to 4 months. So brace for pressure. And actually, the last few haven't been that bad. Like when it comes to falling and hurting myself, um, yeah, hasn't been that bad. Like chewing my tongue and all that wise. Does anyone else get anxiety once you've gone so long without a seizure? That was the question.
Trying not
Hello.
to. I have before, but
Yeah, that was the only question.
it just increases my stress level, and stress is a seizure trigger, so it's makes me more likely to have a seizure. Therefore, I try not to stress about it.
Basically, yeah, it looks like this person's basically asking, is this normal? But no, that doesn't exactly say that.
Of course it's
And does
normal.
the anxiety?
Yeah, of
Huh?
course it's normal to feel. I mean, and at that, having no seizures at that uh, long, that's the weird thing, because you've lived with it for so long, then it's gone. But it's not really gone. So you're kind of waiting for something to happen, and it's an eerie feeling. You're just like, okay,
That's
yeah.
how I am in between 3 and 4 months. That space in between there, I'm just waiting and keep an eye on everything I do and how I feel. Um, so yeah, hoping to make it a few more months. Yeah, 2 months is coming up. Gotta
Then
get my epilepsy.
you're 6 months seizure free, and then suddenly you're 8 months seizure free, and then you're a year. And so before you
It
notice,
sounds
you know,
it sounds much easier. You made that sound easy.
For
First, it'll
real.
be six
I'm like,
months.
fuck.
Eight.
I wish I could go 2 months.
hey man,
Right.
yeah, it happens.
Yeah, I think I'm just meant to have seizures, to be honest. Uh, yeah, I can stick with lamotrigine because I'm only getting insomnia. I guess couldn't get no more worse than this. I'll find out.
Sure.
But yeah, I guess I'm just gonna have seizures because it's just happening every 3 or 4 months. Hopefully, I can just manage it. And one day, it'll, I don't know, be in my body enough to where I don't have to take this as much or something. Did I hear someone say you have to take more medicine? It depends on your weight or something like that. because I've gained some weight. I should check with my doctor, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it depends on the medication itself. Sometimes body weight can do with it because of how like it goes through your system, and so sometimes people who are heavier have to take higher dosages, so it affects their body a little bit differently. Um, I don't know too much about it. The only reason I know a little bit about that is because my my uncle, unfortunately, he passed away from COVID in 2020, but he was an older gentleman and he was not healthy whatsoever. He was 6'4" and 410 pounds. He was, he had diabetes and some other health issues. So basically, once he got COVID, we, our family kind of knew what was going to happen, unfortunately. But the medications that he was taking, he was on like higher dosages, like some of the higher dosages of what doctors would allow people to take for it. And that was, yeah, it was because of his body weight. um like I said, he was over 400 pounds. I'm like 120 pounds. So if we were going to be taking the exact same medication, he was going to be on a higher dosage of it than I would be. So yeah, body mass, body weight can definitely play, a little bit of a part in that.
Yeah, they measure medication dosage by blood serum
BMI.
concentration, blood
Okay.
serum concentration. So the amount of the medication that is measurable in any, a particular given unit volume of your blood. So the larger you get, the more blood your body produces to supply all of the new tissue that is being produced. So, with that larger blood supply in the body, the same pill will not have enough um, medication to get the same blood serum level anymore. So they would possibly need to um, increase the dose level in order to get you or get anyone to the same blood serum level, um, just because of weight differences. So um, yeah, oral dose is one thing, but it's that's why things like the recommended daily maximum dose for a prescription or whatever is not it's not like a hard set limit written in stone like in law by any federal agency. It's just a suggested ballpark range that is safe for the vast bulk of the you know bell curve of American um, population's responses to that. So um, um, yeah, I've actually got paperwork over there that I need to get done before I take my morning medication. Oh, which I take at 7:30 a.m. So I got to get out sometime and get blood drawn before I even want to be awake. But um, yeah, they want to check and make sure that because I'm technically on a big dose of the Lyrica and the Vimpat, but I'm still getting the seizures even with the increasing um, VNS. So They want to check that there's not something like a metabolic issue or something or whatever. Maybe I just don't absorb something the same way as other people do, you know. So I might need a larger dose of one or the other in order to reach the therapeutic dose that they were expecting from giving me those dose levels in the first place. So um, yeah, there's there's that. What were we talking about? um,
I honestly don't even
Uh,
remember.
I got something here. It says possibly an unreasonable question or thought. When you were first diagnosed and decided to start your medication journey in hindsight, do you feel like you went through a denial phase? If yes, during this phase, did you feel like even if you think the medication you're on wasn't as bad as others' medication, were you cautious? Oh, were you curious to try something else to convince yourself that the medication is the right poison to pick? I don't know how to explain this. I feel like I'm so confused. Sometimes I feel I can't keep up with the side effects, but when I see how it might be for others going through a lot more, I feel okay. Am I exaggerating? Um, to the crowd. What do you think about that, Mark? Or Andrea?
I
Mark,
can.
you go
somebody else's
first.
turn to talk.
I think I can give
Sorry,
it
I
an
caught you with your
answer.
feelings.
Go,
While they,
Angel.
I think regardless of meds or anything, once you get diagnosed with epilepsy, you're in a denial phase right away and you don't even realize it. And it's going to take you a while to basically accept it, and you go through it. You go through the motions. Everything doesn't come at once like, okay, yes, I have epilepsy, you know? It's like it comes a little bit at a time. It's like, all right, like I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't, stuff like that. And you start seeing what you can and can't do, and it's a denial with and without medicine. I mean, safer with medicine, but yeah, the medicines that they give us, I wouldn't recommend some of them, Kepra. But yeah,
I would, and I would add too, I guess it kind of goes back to the question that was asked, earlier on, like what do you wish knew? What was the question? I can't remember exactly how they worded it, but it's basically, what do you wish you knew then that you know now about having epilepsy? And that's kind of similar to this. Like I wish I knew like how deeply it would affect my life at the time. I wasn't like completely in you know quote unquote denial of it. It's just that I after the first one I just didn't really take it seriously. I guess I didn't really think of it as being a huge thing because I was 19 at the time, so I just kind of thought, meh, okay, whatever. This thing happened to me, so I guess whatever. I'll just it'll go away or it won't be a big thing or whatever. And then back then I was only having them like once every like year and a half, rather to the once every couple of weeks now. So it really wasn't a big thing because I didn't think about it. I was young, I was in college, just partying, having fun. Didn't have them that often. And then the second one happened, and I was like, ooh, okay, maybe this is a little bit of a thing, a bigger thing. Like, okay, I'll take medication now, And then once they started happening more and more often, I was like, oh shit, okay, this is like a real thing that I'm going to start having to deal with all the time. So I guess, yeah, denial isn't the right word. It's not that I like pushed myself away from it. It's just I didn't take it seriously, if that makes any sense to y'all.
What's up,
I was in
Cookie?
denial. I was in a lot of denial. I was hoping that someone else would get it besides me. I said a lot of dumb stuff. I was like, I prayed. I was like, why
I was gonna
me?
say, I know you regret that thought now
I
because
was
yeah,
like,
there's
this
no way
person's
any of us
done.
would wish this upon someone, right? So
I was, man, thinking this person has done worse than me. God, why me? Just such denial. Just like, I don't deserve this. What did I do? Uh, yeah. Thought I was
yeah,
hated, all kinds of stuff.
true. I guess, yeah, I guess you could say my version of it was denial too. It was just, yeah, like I said, not taking it seriously is, I guess, a version of, yeah, denying that it's happening to you, right? So I get, yeah, true. I guess that is the same. Yeah, same thing.
After the fourth one, I stopped caring and just went about life. And I rebelled a lot. Wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing, or taking my medication, or telling my mom I was having seizures, a bunch of stuff like that. Just rebelling, not reporting stuff I should. I think my epilepsy might have would have been better then. I would have thought about it back then, but who knows?
And it for me at
Got a
least,
comment.
my opinion on it is it's a little tougher too when you don't have like a warning, or a trigger, an aura, whatever you want to call it. So then it's not like, like if I knew, I don't know, seeing here, I'm just going to do that. Seeing a green water bottle, if I knew that that was a trigger, then obviously I would avoid that. If you knew a flashing light did it, you would avoid that. And then it's kind of easier to handle it. But when you don't have a trigger, a warning, an aura, whatever, it makes it even harder to really, pay attention to it and take it seriously, I guess. I mean, now that, we're older and stuff, like I'm talking about when I was, 19, still, a teenager and didn't really know what the fuck was going on. You just kind of, you brush everything off, right? You just brush that dirt off your shoulders and keep going. So, so it's, yeah, that made it even tougher. Like if I knew I had one certain specific thing that set it off, then I maybe would have been more serious about it and paid attention and then avoided that. But it never really, damn, that looks good. But yeah, anyway, I'm done. I'm done. Someone else can go ahead. Nice. What is that, man? What's that, Pookie?
Tacos.
Ooh,
But yeah, taco plate.
damn. I just had some sushi and I'm still hungry now because of you showing that. That looks good, man.
I forgot where you were at, but something that you said, James. But yeah, this post, the unreasonable thought or question. The first comment here says, "I would think all of us do that. What do you take as what is the dosage? I've been on lamotrigine, 200 milligrams of Lamictal, 25 years. I hate the side effects, especially the memory problems in the last year or two, sleep problems, and you bet I wonder, is there something better than that? Make me that makes me would have less side effects. However, I also know the drug chasing is the most of the time a losing battle. Yes, the grass on the other side might be greener, but the odds are just as great that they would not be able, um, they would not be, and could definitely be worse. It's a catch 22. I've heard that a lot.
Yep.
Another person says being in denial, definitely. I was 13 years old. I had a grand mal seizure, and they put me on enough phenobarb to stun an elephant through high school and college.
No, no, not peanut butter. Oh,
You bet on that?
No, that's what my grandmother was prescribed, and it just she never touched a steering wheel her entire life. She never drove. It just she was just a really I don't want to say weird because I feel like that's disrespectful, but she was an interesting person. And now, later on, me realizing how, seizures and seizure medication stuff can affect somebody, it it makes a lot more sense to me as to why she was so, I don't know, specific about stuff and so just kind of keeping to herself. I think I've told the story before. It wasn't a hereditary thing. Um, the generations in my family are spread pretty far apart. So she was born in 1914, and she was I can't remember now. I want to say either 13 or 14 years old, and she was at like a music concert event type thing. And back then, this would have been the early 1930s. Um, Coca-Cola bottles were still glass. So for whatever reason, at this concert that she was at, somebody decided it would be a funny thing to do that if they just threw their glass bottle towards the stage. And my grandmother was within the first couple of rows, and she just happened to be the person that it hit directly on the head. So she hit her head, it knocked her unconscious. I don't know the exact details because it was so long ago, but basically within a day or two, she had her first seizure, and then she had them for the rest of her life. And yeah, they started when she was, like I said, like, like 13, 14. So this would have been the early 1930s. Um, and there weren't, many different medications around for it quite yet. That was like one of the first ones that was there. So she got put on that. I don't know when she started taking it. I could probably ask my dad and he might know, but yeah, she took that for basically her entire life, and that's just what she was on. And she was, like I said, she was very weird, interesting person. I don't know if that was just her personality or whatever, or if, the medication over, several decades added up to it. But yeah, it's not something I'm a fan of personally, I'll say, at least. Sorry, that was way too long, but miss my grandma.
Gotcha. I got some here though. It says seizure free for the last 3 years, but I still lose my sense of touch under high pressure. I was diagnosed with epilepsy at 9 years old, I think, and I was under medication for about 12 years, I think, mostly Tegretol and Frisium. It was so heavy. Don't remember much of my childhood because of the medication. I'm 31s now. 31s. I don't know why it says 31s. 31s now, and I work in high stress environment where I sometimes have to work 20 to 48 hours of work without rest. Wow. Occasionally, under extreme stress, I lose my sense of touch to the point where I can't recognize dangers. It could be cut my body, I wouldn't feel a thing. This is a problem as my work is physically and mentally demanding and risky. I cannot go back to tranquilizers under whatsoever conditions. Am I being stupid?
So he's considering going back on tranquilizers, he says, or this person.
No, he's saying that he can't go back on tranquilizers.
Can't.
Um,
Yeah, okay. Yes. Right. And he has to balance this high stress. 48 hours. Yeah. Okay. Obviously. Uh, and does this person feel any symptoms coming on during this period of stressful
I
work?
don't think so. It says I could cut my body and I wouldn't feel a thing. This is a problem as I work in physically and mentally demanding and it's risky.
Okay. Well, I mean, just watch out for triggers and uh, I, it, congratulations on the progress and just it yeah just yeah, watch out for anything that might push you over the edge. Because yeah, here that's really incredible. Being able to work in such a stressful environment and maintain your progress.
Have any of you lost your sense of anything after a seizure?
Not that I remember.
Um, um, yeah, not that I remember either. Just wondering if you guys have. One of
There's
the
been
comments
times I
here.
felt pain that wasn't there, but then there's been times where, like, and I said this before, like I had a dislocated shoulder and I didn't even feel the pain.
Got something here. It says sports and epilepsy. I'm an epileptologist. I once went to. He is famous specialist in Germany. Asked me if I'm doing any kinds of sports. I replied with something like, "Not really." Anyway, why did he ask me of this? Is working out or being sporty a benefit of if you have epilepsy, focal aware seizures in my case? Or did he ask me so I can stop it just in case I'm doing something risky?
What was the question?
It was sports and epilepsy. Why would a doctor
Oh,
tell him to stop these things? Oh, an epileptologist. Um,
I'm not a sporty person, so I don't know how useful I would be there.
Same. And I imagine that would also depend on the sport, but
Yes.
Well, I mean, I played sports through high school and I played tennis a little afterwards. And yeah, I don't know how I just don't know your condition. Everyone's epilepsy is different, and I don't know if you're uh, I don't know how active your seizures are right now. So yeah, I just need more information as to why your doctor might tell you such a thing.
I got something here. It says, "Do I have epilepsy? I'm unsure what to do. I was diagnosed with MS a few months ago. For reference, I've been having myoclonic jerks for about a year. Thought it was anxiety related since I had a spell of anxiety and depression, which I know was most likely due to my MS. However, these jerks have been getting worse and worse, and none of the psychiatric meds I've tried have helped. My neurologist kind of wrote these off as anxiety induced as well, but I really don't think they are. I have a split second jerk, which my head snaps to one side or one of my arms shoot up randomly. I have some control over these to the point I could make them less evident in public. Since my hospitalization is a few months ago due to an MS flare up, they've gotten uncontrollable even in public, and it's pretty embarrassing. I called my neurologist and kind of strong armed them into putting me in an EEG, just waiting for the insurance to approve it and then schedule it. Lately, these have just been getting worse. They've been really pretty constant all day with a bit of reprieve here and there. I get them in clusters usually, but I also have an odd one here and there. I'm just worried and a bit scared. All these could turn into intense seizures since they have been getting worse, even in the past week or so. Wondering if I should wait it out for the insurance to approve the EEG and find out how long for the appointment to do it, or if I should just be worried enough to go to the ER. I'm very unsure. I would go to the ER and they probably give you some Keppra until you figure it out. Something's better than nothing at this point. Yeah, could you guys go to your primaries for meds too, or you got to go to your neurologist?
It
They sent
depends
me to
on
my.
which meds.
Go ahead.
It depends on which meds. I had been prescribed both clonazepam and pregabalin or Lyrica from my primary care physician for panic disorder and fibromyalgia, respectively, before there was the seizure diagnosis. So now the epileptologist is writing those prescriptions. She put me back on the Lyrica, and um, I had the clonazepam still for social anxiety, panic disorder, and whatnot. And I had mentioned in my annual checkup, I think a year, maybe 2 years ago, that it was ironic that now that I've been diagnosed with epilepsy, I'm taking the clonazepam for the same events, but they're more for seizure auras technically than for social anxiety, even though it's or social anxiety, or instead of social anxiety and panic disorder, even though it's the same things, the same exact events. And he said since it's for epilepsy, those prescriptions, the benzodiazepine prescription needs to come from your neurologist, which I thought was just stupid bureaucratic bullshit. But yeah, I guess because of that. And my neurologist is the one who wrote me the um, prescription for um, getting me back on the Lyrica, so the general practitioner can't do either one. Um, so yeah, he used to prescribe both of them to me, but now he can prescribe neither. It's bizarre.
That is
Um,
interesting.
Yeah, this person also says that their doctor wrote it off as anxiety because they have MS.
All I was going to say is that when I had my very first seizure, the paramedics were called and they told me to follow up with my primary care doctor. And all he did was refer me to a neurologist and they immediately put me on meds. So all of my epilepsy medications have come from my neurologists since then.
Got something. It says anyone else on medication that kicks their ass. I've had epilepsy for 34 years. I started taking Vimpat about 12 years ago. They also have me on Lamictal. I just cannot function at all. Every day, about 30 minutes after I take my medication, my tongue goes numb and I get extreme fatigue sometimes. I get blurred or double vision and vertigo. I have spoken to my doctor about this, and all they can say is that it's stopping the seizures and I will get used to it. I have not gotten used to it Last night, for example, I got 7 hours of sleep. I woke up this morning feeling fine. Then again, after taking the medication, I started to feel numb, tongue, and fatigue. I ended up laying down for about 2 hours after the medication and fell asleep for another 3.5 hours. Does anyone else feel like this? They have just been adjusting the medication and trying others for 12 years. I've been feeling like this, and when I have a lower dose, it is not as bad, but I have breakthroughs. Um, Mine doesn't when you say medication that kicks your ass. I know a lot of you guys are on other stuff that might. Um, Taking this B12 by Nature's Made, it helps. And I don't have a lot of fatigue.
Sounds exactly like me, honestly. Like almost exactly. I get up in the morning, I take my pills, and 30 to 45 minutes later, I am chair locked for a while, and I can't. There's days where like I can't see straight, I can't walk. I'm holding onto the walls to go to the bathroom down the hallway. Lasts anywhere from, I don't know, 2 to 6 hours, depending on how much caffeine I can get in me. That's why I'm going to ask to have my meds changed. But, at this point, I'm on 4 different meds and it's just intolerable at this point. And I am at a point where I can't live like this anymore. Something's got to change. I would rather have more seizures than live my life like this.
It's hard to tell anymore. Um, I've been on one drug since 2008, and it's known for doping people up very good. The Topamax, it's yeah, and the benzo with that, and they're all pretty harsh drugs, but so it's like living in a box. You can't tell uh, what 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 the real world is like anymore. Am I just dopey, or um, is this what the real world is like? You know, it's just it's hard to tell anymore.
Hello everyone. I'm new here.
Nice to meet you.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, nice to meet you too, guys.
Hello?
I am from India. I will just introduce myself first. I'm from India and uh, I have been epileptic from the age of 13 and now I'm 25. I am on these two medications called Kepra and Kepra 750 mg twice a day and this Clobazam 10 once a day. That is my medication. From 2 years, I'm taking that medication, but there are a lot of side effects I'm getting from this Keppra, like getting angry at smaller, like very smaller things, and this social anxiety, and yeah, and there are a lot, but I cannot. I don't know how to tell those.
Have
Thank
you
you.
spoken to your doctor about that? Because that has Keppra is known to have a lot of psychological side effects. And like me, for example, it also made me very angry, but it also made me start having suicidal ideation. And it can be very dangerous for some people, and you might consider talking to your doctor about changing medications.
Yeah, I did talk to my neurologist 2 times last year and 6 months ago. But he says that other medications have this side effects on sexual health. So better to continue with this Keppra. Before that, I was taking this what is called valproate, sodium valproate.
Mm-hmm.
That was that was doing well for me. After that, I gave up medicine for 1 year, and I had a seizure. Then again, my neurologist gave this Keppra. So I wanted to switch to other medications, but my neurologist he keeps saying that other medications have side effects on our sexual health. So this is the best. What do you say? I don't have that much of experience. If you guys say anything.
What what kind of seizures do you have?
I have this what is called tonic TC.
Tonic-clonic?
Yeah, tonic. Yeah.
I take the Motrigine for the tonic-clonics, and I don't have any effects. I mean, that's one of the things you pointed out. Yeah,
Oh,
I don't take. You said I don't take Keppra because of the suicidal ideation, like Andrew said, and yeah, the Motrigine works pretty good for me. I don't know what's allowed in your country. Could be another thing. But here in the United States, you can ask about
yeah,
the Motrigine or Lamictal.
yeah. Uh, and actually, one more thing is that I'm facing very difficulty in my work. I think I might lose my job soon. So one of my friends suggested this lamotrigine to take this to shift to lamotrigine. I need to first I need to go to other neuro. Currently, I'm not in India. I'm in other country. If once I go to India, I will uh, consult any other neuro, and I, I will try to change my medication.
I highly
And what?
recommend the lamotrigine. That's what they
Yeah,
switched me to after Keppra. They took me off the Keppra and put me on lamotrigine. It made a world of difference.
yeah.
Same here.
Uh, anyone single person here? I'm single. I'm not married.
I'm single here. You looking?
I have that major concern about my marriage, like in future, how to deal with it. I don't know what will happen. Maybe after taking
Uh,
other medication.
I didn't understand what you said. Say it one more time.
Yeah, I have that major concern about life after marriage. At least how will I get a girl if I tell people that I have this thing and I'm taking medication, then no one will give. I won't get a girl, I think.
Yeah, epilepsy shouldn't get in the way of true love. If someone loves you,
Mm.
then they'll love you with epilepsy. And yeah, you got to try
Okay,
it to
thank you.
know. See how far
Thank you.
it'll
Thank
go.
you.
I don't know. Will it go as far as marriage? I don't know. But I know you can find somebody and have epilepsy, and there's plenty of people I know that are happy with people with epilepsy,
Mhm.
and they come on here and they talk about how happy they are in their relationships. It's possible. Don't stop
Yeah.
looking.
Was in a very long term, very happy relationship, but unfortunately my partner passed away last year. So
So sad to hear. Please,
life happens, I suppose.
my English is not that much good. If you don't understand what I'm saying, please, pardon.
Your English is great.
You're
Yeah,
doing a great job.
I don't think any of us have any trouble understanding you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. I have some work. I will go. Okay, thank you.
How long have you had seizures for?
Uh, when I was 13 years old, from that time I am getting seizures.
Yeah, I'm just curious on how long ago did you start having seizures? I got something here. It says, does anyone here identify as disabled? What the subject says, I'm reading a book called The Future is Disabled, and the writer talks about identifying as disabled. I've never heard of or thought about that before. Rather, I've only thought about the term disabled in a physical or medical context. FWIW,
For what
36-year
it's
old
worth.
male with, huh?
For what it's worth.
Oh, for what it's worth,
Mm,
36-year-old male
that's what that
with
stands for?
seizure.
All right.
Yeah, I thought that meant something else.
I
It
just
says
had no clue what it
36-year-old male,
meant.
36-year-old male with seizures largely controlled. Um, no, I do not identify as disabled. Um, anyone else got something to say about that? Do you guys?
Yeah, I'm disabled.
You're not, Angel.
Yeah, I am
I mean,
disabled.
we kind of are. I mean, if you look at like the actual like definition of
I
that
was just trying
word,
to have hope.
we're unable to do certain things that other people aren't. But I hate pulling that card. Like I said, I ride my bike everywhere.
Yeah.
I just try and get around it. But there are certain times when somebody just gets like, like all pinky out, like being a, fucking stuck up like Karen and shit. And then
We
then
are
I'll pull that card.
stubbornly
Then I'll yeah,
disabled.
then I'll what was that? Oh, was that Angel? You're muted. You're muted, Angel.
Oh, I said we are stubborn, but we are disabled.
Yeah. So then there's been like 2 or 3 times where I've like pulled that card or something. Somebody's like, "Oh, you can't ride your bike on the sidewalk. You can't put your bike here. You can't do this." And I'm like, "Okay, so if I was in a wheelchair, would you tell me that I couldn't be in here?" And I'm like, "No, why would I say that to someone in a wheelchair?" I was like, "Okay, great. Well, I have epilepsy. I can't get a driver's license. My bike is my only way of transportation. So what's the difference between my bicycle and someone's wheelchair?" And then they were just like, "Well, I didn't know. How am I supposed to know?" I was like, "Well, you had no problem running up to me and telling me where I can and can't have my bike. Why didn't you run up to me and ask me why I have my bike here?" Like, I mean, I was just 100% being a total complete asshole. Like, I was already in a bad mood, not feeling well, and they just set me off. So I was, playing the reverse Uno card and being a complete, dick right back to them. I never ever, yeah, do that. I just always just hide in my little shell and keep to myself. But that just set me off that day. And yeah, that person, oh, I still can remember their face, dude. Like I'm getting like angry, like thinking about the situation. I was so mad
Okay
at that
then.
point. It was, yeah, it
Um,
was, it was funny. I wish I had it on camera. It's so I could like fucking post the video of it, dude. It was. Now that I'm looking back at it, it's funny to me. I was quite angry at the moment, but yeah, it we and yeah, it's like 50 for me personally, it's 50-50. I feel like we are disabled, but it's not the same as like what society kind of considers, a disability. Like when it's somebody that, like, to bring up the example again that I was saying, is like when somebody's in a wheelchair, it's like you see that they have a disability. You hold the door open, you let them go first. But with us, we still have the same thing. Still have things that we can't do, that we're unable to do. We have to take medication. Like we still are disabled in a way, but it's like 50-50 on how do you wanted to describe it. Is that is that the right way of bringing it up? Is that how you guys
Invisible
feel too, or
invisible disability versus a visual disability, like a visible disability. Because if someone's in a wheelchair or missing a limb, for example, they're visibly disabled. But you look
yeah,
at me, I don't visibly look like I'm disabled, but I'm very disabled for a whole list of reasons.
Exactly. One of we have the school that I work at, we have two PE teachers, and one of them, from above the knee, he is missing his right lower limb. And he has, a what artificial, is that
Prosthesis.
the right word? Yeah. He has, it's got like, it's like carbon fiber, and it's got like the kind of spring type mechanism on it, and it's, he walks around, like, if he has pants on, you could not tell a difference whatsoever. Like, he walks perfectly fine and everything. So I mean, yes, that man is disabled. He is literally missing a major part of his body, but
I
he
got
still
screamed
goes
at and
around, and
I got
he still,
screamed at and cussed out by an old man for parking in a handicap spot.
yeah. And my ex, I I know I've ranted about her before. My ex-wife, she, because when I had epilepsy, she was like, "Oh, well, technically you're disabled. You can get a handicap, placard, and we can park, up front and blah blah blah." And I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do that. That's bullshit. I don't have a real, like, there's no way, like, there's somebody that's gonna be in a wheelchair that needs that parking spot. Like, I'm not gonna do that. Like I said, I've ranted
Yeah.
about, and yeah, that's part of the reason she's an ex, is she was just a dumb bitch. But
No, I got out when walking into the Quick Trip one day, and the guy comes walking up to me with his cane. He's like, "You can't park there. You can't park there. That's a handicap spot. You can't park there." I was like, "Well, I'm glad you can't see all the fucking metal in my back, asshole. Go check the tag on the back." And I just kept walking.
exactly, people, yeah, just because they don't see it, like, right in front of their eyes, like, you're not missing half of your body or something, they're just like, "Oh, well, that person must be perfectly fine. There's no other reason why they need that parking spot." Yeah, that's ridiculous to me.
Sorry, we went
I
ranting.
only try. I only try to like not use that word and not like people ask something like that. Like I try not to say I'm disabled or things like that because I don't want people to start thinking there's certain things that they shouldn't ask me to do. Like I mean, I understand the obvious things like don't climb on something or that, but I don't want someone to count me out because I have epilepsy. So I kind of like if you have a question, then I can tell you, okay, I can't do that because of this. But I don't want anyone just not asking me to do something because they think epilepsy will stop me from certain things.
Everybody's body is different, and we're not doctors.
Please take medication as prescribed.
Please take your medication as prescribed.
I'm about to go to bed.